That is sad.
Isn't it? Anyway, what are we talking about?
Uh, well,
Movies, TV, books, fun stuff. Buy Lisa's book. You like zombies. It's all in Ohio. Seriously,
you know,
though.
you know what though? I mean, speaking about Lisa's book, is like I don't have to watch The Breakfast Club. I can just go read her book and I'm happy because there's, you know,
No, I
Funny
do know. I think
reference.
stories like that are important.
oh yeah,
I really do because everybody, like, people always say that. And my thing is this, like, I don't know if you guys ever saw the video online of comparing The Walking Dead to Toy Story, but it's pretty crazy. Like, how I'll
I
send it to
love
you.
I love the random comparison videos that
It's
people do. Like,
crazy.
I haven't seen that one, but just like
No, it's
things like
wild.
that,
And I was,
so great.
well, you always think like, oh, it'll be a couple. And then it's like, no, this is close.
Mhm,
And that's
mhm.
the cool thing about film and media and books and TV and everything that we consume is, but how creative can you be to retell? Like, you're not retelling a story,
Yeah,
obviously, but those themes are always going to be there. And
exactly.
coming of age is important. And there's a reason why it's a big deal because it is important. I love that.
you want to know what I love? There's a video I saw about a year ago, maybe a little bit earlier than a year, but it was someone who was gifted a sorting hat. We're gonna talk about that
Yes,
video.
where's it? Oh, don't
You
fall.
just
Don't.
have one with you.
I really love this sorting hat a lot.
Now, here's
I
the
don't
thing.
appreciate J.K. Rowling messing up everything, but
Neither
I
do I.
I do love my sorting hat.
You know.
when
She
when
really
I
did.
saw that video, like your mom was so happy to give it to you,
So
and you kind of look surprised and also kind of like what the fuck at the same time.
well, my thing is this, like, and I think that we all have it here, and it's we still are little kids. We're like that. I love, like, my mom got me a sorting hat. That shit is cool. I don't care what nobody has to say to me. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I run downstairs at Christmas when I was moved out of my mom's house. I came home. I'm not getting toys, but I still want to come down and see that Christmas tree. I still want to watch movies. I still am geeked about taking my nephew to see Sonic. Like, that's the magic we have. And I know we've said this extensively, but like Tolkien and all those things, like, that's magic. Lisa's book, like, that's magic to me. Like, you're creating magic. You are
Mhm.
allowing other people to get in on the magic. And some people are lucky enough, like us, that that magic is still there. And
Yeah, yeah.
we love it and we are genuinely geeked about it. And I think that's when I say, like, a couple of my family members even said, they were like, well, you're not a nerd. And I'm like, well, you've never heard me like go in on a war, like, obviously, but outside of like nerd, like, we've reclaimed that word, but also,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, our community, what it is we're big kids who still love magic. Like, I'm geeked. My mom got me this sorting hat. Like, I'm still geeked about it. I love it. Like, and this I always say too. I go, I'm the easiest one at Christmas to shop for. I'm
Mhm.
like, and
Yeah,
that,
that's why my friends love me. They're like, Lisa, you're so freaking easy to buy presents for.
yeah, you guys are walking through some store and you go, that crazy shit. My friend loves that. Oh,
Mhm.
my sister loves that. My cousin loves that. I'm gonna get that for them because we still have that kid at heart, and it makes me sad that other people don't have that joy anymore, and we do. Like, we open a Funko Pop, we open a Daryl Dixon, and we still, and my mom still has it, and she's 66 years old. Like, there's something to be said about that, and I think that we all still have it, and we're very, very lucky to have it.
Can I just say, as I'm sitting here, I'm laying underneath my Barbie blanket, though, that I like just bought last week.
Exactly, because Barbie is awesome. I was gonna say this a minute ago. Do you want to know what I'm sad that we missed out on, Lisa? And
Oh.
maybe you do, Josh, but you could be involved. Monster High. The
Yeah,
Monster High community. I've been really
Yeah,
lurking.
It seems so cool, but I'm like,
Am I too old to get involved?
yeah. I mean, that being said, I did get into My Little Pony as an adult, so there's that. But
Right. But that's what I mean. We still have that, like, I'm gonna go check this out. I'm gonna go see what's
it's a
going
law.
on.
There's like no law that you're not allowed to watch cartoons as a grown up. But
Right. Exactly. Well, speaking
as,
of Lord
as
of
a
the Rings,
culture, it's like you might get looked at weird, but it's like, you know what? Whatever. Friendship is magic. I'm gonna watch whatever I want to watch.
it really is. It truly is. And I'm gonna say this, like the new Sailor Moon just came out. And anytime I watch anything Sailor Moon, I'm like, oh, remember Magic and Friends? Remember that, like, as long
Yeah,
as we're there
yeah.
with each other, we're good. And you guys are testament to that. So thank you for that. But also, my mom is weird about cartoons. She'll be like, I don't want to watch a cartoon right now. She loved Avatar: The Last Airbender when I made her crank through it. She's like, this is great. I'm like, no, because it is great.
Yeah.
But speaking of Lord of the Rings, did you guys watch that trailer for the War of the Rohirrim?
No, I haven't watched it yet.
Check it out. Check it out. Because my mom even was
Yeah.
like, it's God, I'm gonna kill myself. It's the no, I shouldn't say that. That's an awful thing to say. Sorry, I take that back. I should know this better. Because that's not something I should be saying, but that's not nice. But it's two Japanese directors are doing it, and it's anime, and I'm like, no, you got to check out this trailer, and it looks amazing, and I'm like, I don't care how we go back to, like I was telling Josh with Rings of Power, I'm like, I don't care how I go back to Middle Earth. I don't care if it's a cartoon. I don't care what it is. I want to go back all the time. But no, it
Yeah.
looks great. So I highly recommend checking it out.
Well, to speak on Monster High, I did see the live action movie.
I did too.
What do you wild guess? Wild guess. What do you think my rating for that movie is?
What is it?
What do
Sorry.
you think my rating for the Monster High movie is?
As a children's film, I'm going to say a 7.
You think that's what I give it?
Okay, maybe I'm going to say 7.5 for Josh.
So
For a kids movie?
Me and Lauren watched it, and see, I took the element of me not watching stuff like that out of it.
Yeah.
So Lauren wanted to watch it, and she wanted to watch it with me. I was like, fine. So we watched it. I give it a 7.
It's fine. I'm like, I appreciate anything that's like, let's include everybody. And that's what Monster High really was. And I didn't really, that's what I mean. I wish not only because I was a weird kid, but it was all about let's include everybody. And I'm like, I'm here for this franchise. I'm going to cheer for you, Monster High. I think you're cool, but I'm here for it. I'm here for your message.
Well, not to get it twisted, my niece, who's now 21, when Monster High was first coming out, she was in that age. So
yes,
I was like, she's anything Monster High that was out, she had. Because her dad and her mom got it, or me being the uncle I am, or my brothers being the uncles that they are, or my mom being the grandmother that she was, we got her pretty much every Monster High doll thing there was. And then I found out later on that she should have kept some of them closed because they became worth money. And I'm like, am I going to start collecting this shit now?
No, that's exactly what happened to me on TikTok. I went down a whole rabbit hole. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, this is crazy. And even like Barbie stuff, I'm like, I am an idiot. I am a mole. I am an idiot.
Yeah.
No, it really is like, because I know people, it's a touchy subject with some people of like playing with dolls being an issue, but I'm like, no, Barbie was the shit. She was
there was some really BA Barbies that came out.
Yeah, she was a mermaid. She was an artist. She was an astronaut. She had a house. She had 17
I had Barbie's
cars.
dream house. It was like the best birthday of my life when my mom got me Barbie's dream house.
She was awesome. I love Barbie. I don't care what nobody says, but I'm like, I was a little bit older when Bratz came out, and I remember liking them.
Yeah,
but
I got to have Bratz for a few years, but then I was just like, no, Lisa, you like Barbie. Why are you turning your back on Barbie?
Yes.
She helped you grow up. Why? And like, to me, Bratz was just a weird thing.
Too
I
much.
didn't really understand it.
It was too much. And like that's what I mean. I saw those Monster Highs and I'm like, no, I would have been totally totally into Monster High. That would have been my
Mhm.
thing. But speaking of children's, like literal children's stuff, did any of you ever watch? I don't know if we ever talked about this. Don't Look Under the Bed on Disney.
Yep.
That scared me.
I
Like
was
that
I was way too scared to watch that.
genuinely scared the shit out of me. To this day, if I think there's something creeping in my room, it's the boogeyman from Don't Look Under the Bed. Like there's a couple of children. I even watched recently because they put them all on Disney Plus, all the original movies. And the 13th year, when he's turning
Mhm.
into a mermaid, if you change the music on that, that is very easily a horror film. Like
Yeah.
this kid is growing fins. He is turning into the creature from the Black Lagoon, and I'm like,
Mhm.
this is some body horror, scary movie. Like
Oh yeah.
the 13th year. But no, I think back and I'm like, I don't even think some of it was supposed to be scary. I think it was just practical. And we were
Mhm.
like scaring the shit out of me. Like
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
scary to me. No,
Can I
it's
just say
fun.
Goonies terrified me as a kid? I never watched that when I was a kid. Like we were having a class party and the teacher put in Goonies, and I genuinely had my mom call the teacher that night and say that we couldn't watch that movie again, and the class freaking hated me because they kept being like, "When can we finish the movie? When can we finish the movie?" And the teacher finally had to break it to them, like, "We're not gonna finish the movie." There were some complaints, and then the next class party we watched A Muppet Adventure, and I'm just like sitting there the whole time with my face in my hand, like, "This is
It's
my
all my
fault.
fault.
This is my fault."
It's all my fault. It's all my fault
Mhm.
we're watching Muppet
All my
Adventure.
fault.
But also, Muppets, they're the GOAT. They really are the greatest of all
Yeah,
time.
they will never get old, you know?
Never. That's one thing that you're always good putting on. Like, I don't care. There are very few things that I'm like, you can throw that on with a grandma, with your uncle, with the
Mm.
kids. That's one of them. Put on the Muppets.
Unironically, the Muppet movie is one of my comfort movies.
Oh my God. I love the second one.
Right?
It's my favorite. Ricky Gervais is
Yeah,
so funny.
yeah.
Oh my
That's-
gosh. But
That
no,
was the first movie I remember seeing. That wasn't horror. That was the first
yes.
movie I remember seeing at the theater, and I know it word for word.
I remember you telling me that because that's one of my big questions. Like, what's the first thing you remember seeing? You're like, Muppets. And I'm like, no, Muppets is a great one. That's a great
Mhm.
one. I think my mom's was the Ten Commandments, which is also a jam to remember. But
It's very long to remember, though.
yes, but it's like what that's one of the ones I really keep up there for. Like it changed effects and movies. Like
Yeah.
that's in my category with Star Wars and stuff, where I'm like, no, the Ten Commandments was like a big deal. But no, Muppets is a jam. And then I'm just like, other things were like Labyrinth is scary and
Uh-huh.
Neverending Story, that wolf, I don't want to look at it to this day. Also very existential and scary. And those are the ones I think about and go, can I show these to my nephew now, or should I wait till he's like 7? I'm like, no matter what, it's scary.
We can't forget about Legend.
Which one is Legend? Wait, I have one I want to bring up. I'm sorry, I just skipped over. I don't know why it reminded me of this. It's a cartoon, but continue with Legend.
Legend is the one where Tom Cruise is fighting the devil, and the devil is
Yeah,
actually played by Tim Curry, who made his
yes.
Uh-huh.
triumphant return in a movie called Stream that came out this month.
No,
Excellent movie.
Legend is scary. Legend is
Yeah.
scary. And do you want to know that I'm sorry, ADD brain here, but that reminded me of what's the not Tom Sawyer, the Mark Twain movie with the claymation.
Oh,
You know what I'm talking about? Where they
I know
start
what you're talking
turning
about.
They start
Yeah,
turning into the devil. It's really scary. That one's the Mark Twain movie is really creepy and weird. But have you guys ever seen The Secrets of Nim?
I haven't.
Okay, The Secrets of Nim was one of the Don Bluth ones, like
That
Land
one
for
seemed
Time.
way too terrifying.
No, Secret of Nim is like scary. And then I rewatched Ratatouille, and I'm like, you guys totally jocked this. It's not the cooking
Really?
part. It's the like we're stealing from the humans. But Nim is what? The National Institute of Mental Health. That's it. And they were testing on the rats, and they're all super smart now. And but it's scary. There's like scary
Yeah.
stuff in Secrets of Nim. That and I rewatched All Dogs Go to Heaven, and I've always said
I've
this. I'm like,
never watched that again.
All Dogs Go to Heaven, if you put people in that, it would be rated R. We're killing our friend at the end of a doc by the mob because he's
Mhm.
coming back to reclaim his gambling den. And I'm like, who approved this? the 80s was lawless, man. The 80s was, I give you guys credit. You were totally lawless. Like, this checks out. Remember that Scarface movie that came out a couple years ago? Make it for kids.
Mhm.
Totally, totally fine. And I'm
I have
like,
horrible memories of that film.
Well, I mean, if
there's
you really look
scary
at it,
definitely.
though, isn't The Mask with Jim Carrey kind of like a ripoff of Scarface, but only for kids?
The
That
Mask
one
is
inspired me
demented.
too. Yeah.
No, The Mask is demented.
And
Oh
they would
yeah.
always have that one at the daycare center that my parents would send me and my sister to, and it was like we hated going there for that very reason. It was like this should not be on, guys.
No, I really think about some of the stuff. I remember we convinced, now this isn't as bad because it was our senior year high school, like psych class, and we convinced her to let us watch movies every week. And I remember I was like, can we bring in Fight Club? And she's like, yeah, but we got to write a paper on it. And we watched Fight Club The Dark Knight. But here's where I was like, I don't know if everybody's parent would have been. We watched Sling Blade, like a whole bunch of stuff. And I'm like, that was fine. But I think back on when I was younger and I'm like, nobody cared. Nobody cared. Nobody was sending a note home going like, should they
Uh,
watch this? Like, no, I remember I had to get a signature one time, and it was because we were doing like the Holocaust. That
okay.
understandable. Like one class had
Mhm.
to read Anne Frank, we had to read Knight, like we had to read the important stuff. Totally understand that. But also nothing else had to get vetted.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I'm like, I understand why this had to get vetted, but not really, because it's history and it happened. But nobody
Mhm.
was getting a permission slip on any of the other lunacy that we thing. I'm like, this is crazy. I had to write a paper on the Dark Knight on how on his mental issues, like on Batman's mental health, and I'm like, totally normal, totally normal. This is totally fine.
I
This is
mess
crazy.
with Lauren all the time because with Sling Blade, I can actually almost sound exactly like Billy Bob Thornton's character,
This is my favorite.
but he's like, I like the way you talk.
I'll try them French fried taters. Some people call it a nanner blade. I call it a sling blade. I really do think back and like my uncle really I remember he rented The Exorcist. He's the reason I know the Burbs. I remember him going into Blockbuster and arguing about the Burbs. He's like, it's Tom Hanks. His neighbors are murderers. And I'm like, I vividly have that memory, but I remember he got The Exorcist and he was like, no, look right here when the scene cuts and you're going to see the face in the background and like all this, oh, freeway, a bunch of crazy stuff. My uncle was, and I had to be like under 13 watching all of this. And I'm like, dear God, but I'm grateful for it at the same time. But that was one of those two where I'm like, thanks, Uncle Timmy. Shout out to that. Like, that was really normal to rent for your niece.
Oh, when I was a kid, 7 years old, is when I first saw the original Exorcist. Only movie that ever bothered me. Like
This day. I don't care if you're not religious. That shit is scary.
once her head spent, and a 7 year old, and I'm seeing that shit, and I'm like, that ain't natural. I'm leaving. Goodbye. I
No,
didn't finally see that movie all the way through until I started working at the drive-in.
no, that's
Shameless
I'm
plug.
telling you. I don't care. No, do it. I don't care. We don't shamelessly plug. We're just plugging. We're plugging everything. But also, no, The Exorcist is I don't care what nobody says, especially like when people today are like, oh, I watched it, it's not scary. Well, then you didn't sit down and watch The Exorcist. I say the same thing about Jurassic Park. I'm like, I went and saw that on the 20-year anniversary and they replayed it in theaters. And I remember it was like me and my friend went and saw it for shits and giggles. But to sit down in the dark and watch that with the music and everything, a grandma and her like grandson came in. He couldn't have been more than 10. He probably watched that movie 60 times at home. That kid was shrieking and crying to the point they had to leave. And I was like, I'm getting scared. I'm getting afraid of these dinosaurs. I'm afraid. And I've seen this 200 times. And I'm like, no, that's scary. But The Exorcist is scary as shit with the best music. I don't care what anybody says. Tubular Bells is so
Yeah.
perfect. It's perfect. And it's, like I said, you don't have to be religious. You don't have to be nothing to be like, I feel uneasy after watching that shit. Like that. And honestly, the third one the one with the blood cups? You guys will know.
The
The
third one
heretic?
is yes.
Yeah, that really creeped me out when I was younger. I remember being like, I saw The Exorcist, I can watch these ones. And then that really And they were like, oh, they didn't spill a drop. And I was like, that really, I don't know why the blood
Oh, yeah.
cups really bother me, but they really scared me. But no, The Exorcist is just to have something going like, I know you, and saying, like, it's the shit between Reagan and the younger priest, but
Yeah.
that is scary. Like, that's the scary shit to me when it's like, it's funny as I don't care what nobody says. It's funny as shit to hear that little girl go, "Your mother sucks cocks in hell." It's funny.
Mhm.
But at the same time, it's like when it's saying like I know when it starts speaking in Italian and stuff, I don't like that.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if it's Catholic raising me or what, but I don't like it and it scares me.
So here's the thing. After meeting Eileen Dietz a couple times at Nightmares, I didn't know it at first, but then again, I didn't really go too much into detail because I was like, this is the only movie that had bothered me. But so when Reagan was normal, that was Linda Blair.
Yeah.
But when she wasn't, that was Eileen Dietz. Because they couldn't,
Oh,
the child labor laws back then wouldn't allow them to put the prosthetics on Linda Blair.
okay. You had to play flip flopsy.
Yeah. So as that's happening, and she's telling me this, and I'm like, I'm a horror buff and I don't know this. And I'm like, now I have a full ammunition round of I know really what the fuck was going on, you know.
Mhm.
But when she said she had to deliver some of those lines, she said it bothered her so much that she spent the next 2 to 3 days just away from everybody because it bothered her so much.
No, and that's what I mean. I'm like, some of the lines like are funny, but also like I remember if you're really sitting back and watching it, not in passing, not throwing it on at Halloween, it's a lot. And I remember being young and being like, her with the crucifix really bothered me, like
Oh yeah.
bothered me. And it's like, that's a lot. And I don't think people realize like a kid is working. And that's why I give so much credit to them. Like when people are like, oh, this is awful, this, that. And I'm like, no, that's a kid. And I don't think you realize like even the performance they gave, if you don't think it was that great, was probably a lot better than you think. But Linda Blair and you know what her like imagine going to work every day and being like, you got to say this shit. And it's like, if it's going to scare the shit out of an adult or like make an adult, even not scare you, but make you uneasy to hear a little girl say, that must have been hard on them. So I give mad credit because that's one of the few movies where when I'm arguing with people, I'll be like, that's a perfect film. It's perfect. The Exorcist is a perfect movie. And I don't care what nobody has to say to me about it. I'm like, no, it's flawless. It's perfect.
All right. Well, to go back on one of your questions you asked earlier, what horror movies are we looking forward to seeing this year or that are coming out? I would be amiss not to mention, and this is again going to be a plug for Wendigo Pictures, but I am really looking forward to Bad Things Happen Here.
Yep.
That
I
the
like the
trailer
title.
alone. Oh yeah. The like Abby, go back and watch the interview we did with
Oh, I'm
Wendigo
going to.
Pictures.
I have it wrote
Yeah.
down.
And we talked about the new movie and everything, and just the way that they were talking about it made me feel like this is probably going. So I'm not even going to lie to you. Me and Lisa are going to set up a whole list of movies for the NC-17 awards at the end of the year. And if this movie's out by the end of the year, I'm pretty sure it's going to be on that list.
It's totally gonna be on that list.
Yeah.
No, I love that. And if anything, that's what I mean. I think people lose their, it's not even a sense of imagination. It's more of like, just can you put yourself in somebody's shoes of a character? You know what I mean? Of like, how would this make you feel? And if it can make you feel uneasy just hearing what this is about, then that says something.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Because there's certain things that will all, like I said, I don't know if it's the inner Catholic in me. I don't know if it's what possession scares me. That should scare, but like it's not even possession. It's this thing, whatever it is
So,
coming
a
at me.
foreign thing taking you over. Yeah, that is terrifying. I totally
Yes.
feel that.
A foreign thing taking me over, or you or whoever around me over, but like
Yeah.
also
Yeah.
spitting knowledge at me that you know my weaknesses. Like
Yeah.
that's
Oh, yeah.
there's something scary about that. Like even a person coming, it's like a home invasion.
Mhm.
I it's akin to
Yeah.
that of going like they're in my personal space saying
Yeah.
personal shit to me. that's scary. And I think that's what's scary to all of us is, I mean, not to get cliche with it, but like looking yourself in the mirror and going, oh, you feel inadequate? Let me tell you, asshole. And then you're like, oh God, okay, here we go. It's happening. But that, like, there's certain things that really creep me out. And if something can make me feel creeped out while I'm hearing the premise of it, then I give it credit.
So with 7 minutes left, we're gonna change it to a realm of something that, well, first off, that surprised the hell out of Lisa. We're gonna talk about something that happened about a week ago, 2 weeks ago.
Let me grab my charger. Keep talking. I can hear you.
All right. So me and Lisa and a bunch of us, we went to karaoke.
Oh no, I'm
Yeah. Lisa got up and sang, and she did good. She killed it. Our 187 did, or unalived it, whatever the hell you
I
want to
did my
call
best.
What was the song?
I didn't completely embarrass myself and they didn't kick me out. That's I call that a win.
Oh yeah.
That?
You want to tell her what song you did?
What was the song?
Dare to be stupid.
Oh, I love it. Do you want to know
Yeah.
my go-to? And you can laugh at me.
Yeah.
My go-to is Mother by Danzig.
Mother.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Mother. Keep going. I love this.
I surprised the hell out of Lauren and pretty much everyone else there. You look at me, you don't think I'm going to bust out the song that I'm about to tell you I did. It's from a movie, obviously.
Of course.
It's from a classic movie, obviously.
Don't say American Girl by Tom
I might
Petty.
even call it a cult classic movie.
Called classic.
Okay.
So with 5 minutes left, I'm going to tell you guys, and then I'll let Lisa interpret any way she wants of how it went down. I did a number from the Rocky Horror Picture Show, and everyone's like, "Oh, hey, Time Warp." Nope, I did Sweet Transvestite.
I love it. I love it.
He killed it. It was incredible. No shame whatsoever. He owned it.
Something from a musical is a choice.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, I'm not going to get up and be like, I'm going to do something from West Side Story. People are going to be like, what shit are you doing, Ab? That's a choice, Josh. Good for you.
Well, see, the thing is like, I know the song because me and Lauren watched the movie religiously, like over and over. But the thing is there are certain songs I can get into. And I don't know, yes. I got up on that mic and it was like...
It took over. Tim
Yes.
Curry took over. Everything took over.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say that.
The spirit took you over.
You know, and
I love this.
It was cool. I sang a couple songs, but I mean, I'd have to say that was probably the highlight.
Yeah.
So
can confirm.
No, that's amazing. I love that. That's great.
No,
I really it's funny because like whenever I think of songs from like scary stuff or whatever, like let's say Halloween adjacent movies, because people always think it's what's Goodbye Horses from Silence of the Lambs. Like they're always like, that's creepy. I'm like, no, American Girl by Tom Petty is the creepy song in that. And I really thought you were gonna say that, but you shocked me here. Because no, yeah, American Girl, if it comes on the radio and I'm driving anywhere, like at night, I'm like going home. Because this is what she is about to kidnap to in about 2 seconds. We're not listening to Tom Petty while we're driving. But no, that's even better. I did not think you were going to pick a musical number.
Oh, yeah.
So kudos to you, Josh.
Well, if I'd have did Time Warp, I actually would have did the dance, but I was like, no. I'm not going to do the dance.
You want to know what? That's something I would go do if you guys want to do that. Like we could vlog it if you want, or we could just go for fun. I've never gone to a Rocky Horror performing show.
Oh, damn. They got
love to do that. Yeah,
I've never gone.
If we ever do that, definitely count me as an in automatically.
I'm down for that.
In October, they have some showing, and the lady who played Magenta, I think that was the maid, she's going to be there.
I'm down. I'm down to go to that. Yeah. I've never done anything like that, and I'm down for it. Speaking of Tim Curry, though, I just rewatched Fern Gully recently. He really bellows it out in that too.
Yeah.
Toxic Love is a jam. I don't know if you guys have seen Fern Gully, but
oh yeah, I've seen it.
He really kills it in that. My nephews and my cousin's kids did not like that. They were like, "This is scary," and I was like, "Oh, evil pollution? Yeah, it is scary."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then I try to keep my millennial mind in check, where I'm like, I'm not trying to scare you about global warming yet, but I kind of am.
Mhm.
I'm kind of trying to scare you.
So we got 2 minutes left. I'm down to do another episode. I don't
So
know if you guys are. I am.
I
Lisa.
am too.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So with that, I'll say stay NC-17. You get the double deuces this time.
Peace out.
All right. And we'll be back in a minute.
All right.
Sounds